this evening and welcome to the Ohio State versus Illinois preview edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor if you don't mind, everybody, and smash that like button. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel, and always, we want to know what you think about what we think down in the comments section below. What is your score prediction for this Saturday's game? 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central in Champaign, Illinois. It is Ohio State's second road trip of the season. This one to number 17, 5-1 Illinois, 5-0 Ohio State is going to go into Champaign and take on the Fighting Big Birds. This is going to be a great football game, Chris.
Yeah, I anticipate one. I'm not gonna lie. I had originally picked this to be the one loss on Ohio State's schedule.
You weren't the
I've
only one.
I've since gained confidence in Ohio State while losing some confidence in Illinois. That being said, Illinois is still a tough place to play anytime you got to go there, no matter what the record is. The crowd's going to be up for this.
Yep.
You can bet that Birdie's going to have his boys up for it.
Yep.
I still think it's going to be a good game, but I think it's one. I think it's going to be very similar to what we've seen with Washington. I think it's going to be very similar to what we have seen with some other teams, where maybe they hang for a quarter and a half, and I think that Ohio State just pulls away.
Yeah, we're going to dive into how we think this game's going to go after we break it all down for you, like no one else does. Our previews have gained a lot of traction among fans, and we appreciate all of you who appreciate these previews that we do. All right, Chris, here we go. 12 p.m. kick Eastern. It's going to be on Fox. You know where else it will be on? Patreon.
Patreon.
The OHIO Podcast Patreon channel. Link down below. $5 for a monthly subscription will get you every single Ohio State game without the terrible commentators that you would hear on Fox, NBC, CBS, or ABC, or ESCCPN. You will get the voice, the online voice of Ohio State, Dr. Corey, with either myself, Chris, TG, one of us will be there to add some color commentary. Maybe all of us, maybe two of us. We'll have a good time. You'll have a good time. The chat's having a great time. Patreon is where it's at. But it is on Fox as well. Chris, let's break down this game by the numbers, shall we?
Sure.
Ohio State leads the all-time series against the Illini, 68 wins to 30 losses and 4 ties. Not going to lie, that 30 loss number surprised me when I looked that up. Last loss to Illinois, however, was back in 2007. That was a 21-28 defeat. Last win over the Illini, well, that was 2017. 8 years ago was how long it has been since we have played the Orange and Navy. 52-14 was that win, and that was the last meeting in Columbus in 2017. That was a big win. Last time we were in Champaign was 10 years ago, 2015. Ohio State won that one 28-3. I wonder if maybe we could repeat that. Largest margin of victory, well, that came with John Cooper in 1996. That was a 48-0 shellacking of the Illini. Largest margin of defeat came long before Chris, myself, or any of you were ever thought of. 1904. 0-46 was that loss. Ohio State's longest win streak over the Illini is at 15 games. That came at the end of Woody Hayes and the beginning of Earl Bruce era. 68-82, and Illinois' longest win streak over the Buckeyes, well, that was 88-92. That was, I believe, the end of Earl, and the majority of that came at the beginning of John Cooper, and that was 5. This will be Ryan Day's first time ever taking on the Illini, and of course, Brett Bielema's record against Ohio State is 1-5. All of those games coming when he was the head coach of the Wisconsin Badgers. Last 10 games against the Illini, well, Ohio State is 9-1 in those last 10. The last time Ohio State lost to Illinois was in 2007, 28-21. That's right. They clipped the sweater vest himself in Columbus, 28-21 in 2007. And of course, missing from this, unfortunately, is the 2010 season, which was also a victory for Ohio State, but that's not recognized yet. Hopefully, we get that win back added to us here very soon, because that would give us a 9-game winning streak right now, currently, as opposed to an 8-game winning streak, which is getting closer to that 15 mark that Ohio State had back at the end of the Woody Hayes era. Chris, any thoughts at all about some of the history and the numbers, and can you kind of glean anything from that?
Well, first of all, I don't know why you're trying to raise my blood pressure today. I don't. You're trying to raise my blood pressure, trying to
I am
talk about
not.
getting those vacated wins back.
That's a
It
podcast for a different time.
is. Um, I think the most astonishing thing is 8 years since we've played them last. That's a long time to hold on to the stupidest trophy in all of college football. That's a long
Yes.
time to be stuck with that piece of crap.
Do any of you even want to acknowledge the Illabuck? Like, seriously, serious question, Ohio State fans. Put your answer down in the comment section below.
The fan
Do
trophy from the people in Iowa, Eric, has more credibility than the Illabuck.
do any of you seriously think the Illabuck is cool? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you have
But
no idea what Chris is talking about the fan trophy,
there's a
that
previous
that
podcast where it's discussed.
yeah, that's a members only, and that we'll have to repeat that story on Patreon someday down the road. Maybe when we play Iowa next time.
But let me tell you, Eric, overall, uh, you know, this is a team that, you know, outside of a stint under Earl Bruce and Coop, really has been owned by Ohio State for the most part.
Yep. Well,
Uh,
30 wins that's quite a bit against Ohio
you
State.
know what though? When did they all come? Back when dinosaurs roamed the earth and Michigan was a legitimate football power
Yes. Before the face mask,
before
right?
the face mask.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, they are a team that's dangerous. I'm not going to say they're not, but to me, I think this should be a fairly comfortable one.
Well, to reiterate what you just said, this could be a dangerous team. Why don't you share for everybody the tail of the tape? These numbers are incredibly interesting.
They are. They're very interesting in the fact that, with the exception of turnovers, Ohio State is the or has the lead in every category. But
But they're
if
close.
you look, a lot of these numbers are very similar. There is less than a half point per game difference in scoring. Uh, Ohio State's rushing for about 40 yards more per game. Not, not what I thought. Not what I thought from a Brett Bielema team. But you look, Luke Altmaier is hanging in there right there with Julian Sayin as far as the yardage they're putting up per game. Julian Sayin just under 280. Luke Altmaier just under 270. Overall total yards per game, 451 for the Buckeyes, 397 for the Illini. Third down conversion rate, that is a major difference there. And not that Illinois is bad at 38.5, but 54.17 for the Buckeyes. That's impressive. Red zone offense. Once these guys get in there, odds are these two teams are going to score. The key, keep them out of the red zone. Defensively, you talk about that. Here is a huge difference. Ohio State, and we talked about this the other night, Eric. The number 5 is key to Ohio State right now. 5 wins, giving up 5 points per game. Illinois giving up 24, which is solid. But wow, 5 points a game. You look at the rushing yards allowed per game. Illinois has given up some yards, 135 and a half. Ohio State keeping the opposing rushers under 100 yards per game. Passing yards per game, again, another impressive number for the Buckeyes, only giving up 100 and just under 125 yards per game through the air. You know, the Illini has given up nearly twice that. Actually, a little over twice that. Total yards per game, Ohio State's given up 215 as opposed to the 387 per game that the Illini are giving up. Getting off the field on third down, Ohio State is only allowing 20% conversion on third down. The Illini is allowing nearly 43%. And then turnovers per game, like I said, the one category where the Illini do have an advantage, and they're leading us by about a turnover, just over a turnover per game. So if you look at those numbers, some of them are very similar. Some of them, I think, are a little shocking. But overall, these are two teams that, on paper, or at least offensively, should be able to match up. However, that defense of Ohio State, I think, is the wild card.
Indeed, it is. And this Illinois team has adapted to its personnel offensively. And they've had to do that given their struggles running the football. And they're leaning in heavy to the pass. And the interview that you're about to hear between Ryan from Keeping It Orange and Blue and myself, I literally come out and just flat out ask him, Chris, is Illinois a pass first football team? And he admitted, yeah, we are now. We have to be this year. I think that bodes well for Ohio State.
Yeah, I do as well, because you look at the teams that Illinois has played. Now they are an impressive 5-1. This is a team that I don't think there's any doubt that this team goes bowling this year. But Western Illinois, Duke, Western Michigan, Indiana, USC, Purdue, they've played one team that could play defense, that being Indiana. And what happened?
Yeah, but okay, let's do this. Let's go ahead and go to our interview because that's the very first question I ask Ryan. And he gives an answer that I've been kind of giving to everybody for the last couple weeks because we've actually watched quite a bit of Illinois this year. And I saw the same thing he did. So let's go to the interview. When we come back from the interview, Chris and I are going to respond to that interview, and then we're going to give you our predictions for the game. All right, and I'm now joined by Ryan from the Keeping It Orange and Blue podcast, our sister podcast on the College Huddle. Good to talk with you again, Ryan. It's been a few months.
Yeah, I always enjoy these, man. Definitely, we obviously had planned and talked about this being a big matchup, and thankfully, it still is. Ohio State, of course, has done their part, and Illinois, even with the Indiana loss, I think has rebounded pretty nicely. I mean, it's not easy to get up off the mat after 63-10 to put yourself back in the top 20, and beat a good, Southern Cal team and go on the road and, pretty much put up 500 yards on Purdue and win by 16. Not to say that that's something to hang your hat on, but like, that's a pretty sound road win. I mean,
Sure.
it's, when you're the spread was only 9.5 too. So people are like, well, you should have done this. Well, spread was only 9.5. So, if you're covering by quite a bit, I feel like that's a pretty comfortable win. So yeah, it's a big game, Eric. That's the bottom line.
So let's go back to Indiana because I need your explanation of what happened. I have tried to explain to people like, look, there was some major injuries on that defense. They were playing with one hand tied behind their back defensively. The momentum, snowball rolling downhill, things kind of got away from them. That's not the Illinois that we're going to see this Saturday. So explain to everybody what happened there. Let's start there.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would say this. To the extent of he's not going to be back probably till maybe November if he does, or if Illinois makes the college football playoff, Xavier Scott will be back. But he's not Caleb Downs, but let me just make sure everybody understands. Xavier Scott's an all Big Ten second cornerback. So, he was on pace for that. He, led the team in interceptions last year. He's a quality player. He's a guy that, many were projecting in the third to fourth round probably if he was healthy. That was the first game he's missed for Illinois. He re-aggravated an ankle issue against Western Michigan, and he basically missed the Indiana game, and he's their leader, on defense. So imagine your secondary leader back there. And anybody wants to say, "Oh, that doesn't matter." Ask Penn State about Tony Rojas. Ask them how that matters. You have somebody back there who is your leader, who you depend on for specific things. So he was out. Then Illinois in the second quarter lost. It was 14-7 at this point. Lost their captain and starting safety Miles Scott for a Bush League targeting call, which is terrible. That took him out. Then they had Caleb Patterson, one of their starting cornerbacks, a 2-year starter. We got his ankle rolled up on, so he left right before halftime. And then their other starting cornerback, Torrey Cox, hurt his ribs in the third quarter. And they were playing in the whole second. By the way, the second half, Illinois was playing their third stringers and walk-ons in the secondary. So, and Curt Cignetti, he don't care. He's going to run it up, man. So it really 63-10 is what it was, but that isn't the talent discrepancy between those teams. No, I think if they played 10 times, Indiana may win 6 or 7 out of 10, but it just made people think that Illinois is a joke and Illinois is not for real and they weren't deserving of a top 12 spot. I mean, the jury's out if they're going to, be a top 12 team, but they're a legit top 15, 20 team, in my opinion. They have enough talent. They've proved that. But a lot of things happen as well. So the last thing about the Indiana game, it sucks when, you start out the game getting a punt block for a touchdown. That's just a momentum zapper, and Illinois special teams is something Brett Bielema prides himself on. And they've had great special teams. They've actually had the special teams player of the week the last 2 weeks. So David Alano has been clutch for them, and their punting game is really good. They've special teams is something that Illinois always usually wins the matchups. That's the one game this year that Illinois special teams was bad, and it cost them 14 points as well. There was another play, that Illinois actually stopped Indiana. Okay, 4th and maybe 2, and they couldn't get their punt team lined up, so that pissed off Curt Cignetti. So they had to call a timeout. So what did Curt Cignetti do? He says, "Screw this. Forget this. I'm putting my offense back on the field now." And then they go and pick it up, I think they picked up 3 yards or something. Then they go down the field and score a touchdown. That was 14 points. The special teams cost Illinois. So offensively, they weren't able to get a lot going. There was just nothing really working for him. It was just kind of a spiral. It was like Brett Bielema said, he hasn't ever had a game like that where it just, things all just went against them and they couldn't get any breaks. They didn't have any luck. They were having their best players either injured or getting kicked out of the game. Their special teams unit wasn't on. It was just an ugly game, but what can you do other than pick yourself up? And I think they've done a good job. Hopefully for Ohio State fans, that helps them understand a little bit of why it turned out 63-10. It really shouldn't have been 63-10, but
it's kind of what I've been saying. And having watched that game and having watched Illinois play before that, it just felt like it was a snowball that just went out of control. And defensively, they couldn't do anything to stop it. Is Illinois an offensive team this year? Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, they are. And trust me, Illini fans love the offense, right? And it's still only, I think, 6th or 7th in the Big Ten with yards and points per game, 37. And I looked, and there was a couple other teams that have like 37.2, 37. And then you got the Ohio States and the Oregons and the Indianas in the 40s, So, but yeah, Illinois is an upper echelon offense. The defense, though, is just makes you want to talk about the offense and as we get to the defense. But while we are talking on the offense, Luke Altmaier has just asserted himself into, he's been special this year. Really, I think even Ohio State fans, if you just look at his numbers and you can't say he hasn't played anybody. Duke's a good team. And he had they beat him 45-19, and yes, they created 5 turnovers, but man, when he has time to throw the ball, he's I think he's 74% completion percentage this year, and a lot of those, the ones that haven't been completed, were drops. Against Purdue, he was 19 for 22, and 2 of them were drops. He's just he's a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the Big Ten, and I genuinely believe that. I'd say maybe 3. But his and Julian Saying showing me something too. I'm going to say top 3 or 4. But he's just been special. The offensive line has been pretty good pass blocking, has not been as great run blocking, which has been frustrating for Illinois fans because, Brett Bielema is obviously bread and butter. He likes to pound the rock, a little game management, right? Control the clock. You don't want to give the other team as many possessions. If you can run 6 or 7 minutes off the clock, and punch it in, or even get a field goal out of it if you need be. But pretty good pass blocking team, and very, very good passing team with a lot of weapons, actually. So they've got 4 or 5 guys that Luke has a special connection with. But Hank Beatty, I think, sticks out above all the rest. He's second only behind Mekhi Lemon of USC in yards. I know Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith have been kind of stealing yards from each other. So he still has 100 yards more than both of those guys. So he's had a really good season, Hank Beatty.
One more offensive question for you. Ohio State's giving up 5 points a game right now. Their defense is just amazing.
Scary.
How would you want this offense to try to attack Ohio State's defense?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question. And I've watched most of Ohio State. So I didn't watch Grambling, and I didn't watch much of Ohio, but I did think Ohio did pretty well for the first
First
2 or
half,
3.
yeah.
Yeah, for the first half, they only scored 9, but it was pretty close. I was kind of surprised. Also, Washington, kept it close, but nobody really did anything much. But I would say, they are going to try to establish the run, I think. And if they're not able to do that, then Luke Altmaier, they're going to have to do a quick passing attack. I think they know that they're not going to have tons of time back there for him to throw. But Barry Lunney, I will tell you this: Barry Lunney is earning himself a head coaching position somewhere with what he's been doing with the offense, and I think they got some wrinkles up their sleeves for sure. But it's definitely going to have to be through the air, in my opinion. Not going to be an easy task, but Luke Altmaier, in my opinion, is the best quarterback that Ohio State is going to face or has faced this year until. Do you guys play Oregon this year?
No.
Yeah, if you don't play Dante Morton and you don't play USC, right? You don't play Maeva.
No.
And I'm gonna be honest, forget Drew Aller. Altmaier's better than Drew Aller. So
I think everybody would agree with that.
so yeah, he may be the best quarterback you play all year, and you guys will get to see that Saturday. We know this is the best defense in the country. We know this is going to be a tall task. And I say we, meaning like everybody who's covering the game and Illini fans. We know it's a scary challenge, but Luke Altmaier is going to be up to it, man. He's a special cat.
Seems like a baller. He's a baller.
He's got this. Yeah, he's a baller. He's got a special confidence about himself that you can't. Even after that Indiana game, you were like, this is gonna really shake him. He had 300 plus yards against USC, 390 against Purdue. Yeah, I think he's going to be motivated and ready for the challenge. So, but I will give my prediction: Illinois is going to score the most points on Ohio State this year.
Well, no one scored double digits yet, and I
guess that's what I'm saying. That's not much of a prediction, but I believe Illinois is going to get into the double digits.
I think most of us who've been talking about who's going to be the first team to score double digits on this defense the last couple of weeks have all kind of been looking at Illinois going, I think it's probably going to happen in Champaign. All right, let's flip it over to the other side of the ball. Let's talk defense a little bit. And I know that we mentioned what happened in Indiana. What do you think defensively Illinois can do to really disrupt Julian Sain? He's really been very efficient. He's young, but he's been very efficient. He's not been asked to win a game yet, but he's got it in his repertoire. He's shown that he can do it if need
Yeah.
be. You mentioned it. You brought it up. Carnell Tate, Jeremiah Smith, the two big name wide receivers. The offensive line's been playing pretty good, especially the left side of the line. And then Bo Jackson, the freshman, has solidified himself as RB1 now. So that is in the books. He's the man now. Defensively, what can we expect to see from the Illini in trying to disrupt this Ohio State offense?
It may make some of you guys laugh, but it's just what they've done all year. They turn teams over. They create turnovers. They got 2 against Purdue. They had 2 against USC, 5 against Duke. Indiana was the only game. Like I said, it was just a total different game. They're really good at punching the ball out, and they focus on that. And they've just been opportunistic too. Soon as guys get the ball, they try to knock it out. And every time there's a ball carrier, that's the thing is I don't know how good Jackson's been, but he's young, so they're going to go after that ball they're going to try to punch it out every time. And for Illinois to be able to win this game and keep it close, they're going to have to turn Ohio State over. So defend, and you may not say like, well, I don't know the schematic that can sit here and say, well, I mean, they've been giving up 40 points per game in Big Ten play, so it's not like what can they do? Can be someone different. It's there's a lot going on there. They're still not as healthy as they can be, but they're getting there. I think they're going to have to get pressure. You can't I've watched him enough. You can't just let Sain back there have 4 or 5 seconds to just do whatever. You're going to have to put pressure on him. And I know that means, I think they're going to maybe try to disguise some of their zone, to confuse him. That is one thing they do a decent job of, is mixing up their blitzes and zone schemes and trying to confuse folks. But I know Ryan Day will have him probably all sound on a lot of it. But turning up pressure and turnovers, I mean, that's, you can't sit back in the zone and just expect that he's going to, not be able to find 2 dynamic. By the way, and your guy's tight end, Max Clare, right? He's pretty damn good himself. He had a great game against Illinois last year with Purdue. So, pressure, turnovers. Illinois has been turning teams over. Sain's got 3 picks this year?
Yeah, there was 2 against Ohio, and I think he threw one other one. I think wasn't against Texas. Who was it against? That's it. He's only
Was
threw
it
2.
Washington?
No, I don't think he threw one against Washington. Maybe he
There's
did.
no way it was against Grambling, right?
No, it wasn't. I don't think so.
Okay, someone said he had 3 picks. Okay, maybe 2.
Okay,
So,
I think it's only 2, but let me look it up for you real fast.
but if it is 2, they'll probably watch that Ohio film. So, maybe it was just him in his, what was it, third start?
Ohio was his 3rd start. He has thrown 3. So where am I missing the 3rd one at?
Was it Texas?
No, I don't think so, because I think we didn't have any turnovers against Texas. So it couldn't have been that one. Let's see here. He did throw one against Grambling. Holy crap.
He threw a pick against Grambling, huh?
Yeah, he felt sorry for him, I guess. He was like, "Here, guys." Actually, I remember now. It really wasn't his fault. It was like a drop and Grambling. Yeah, it was like
so against Ohio, what do you think Ohio did decently well? Like, because
there was I felt like in that game Julian got in his own head a little bit and he started trying to force the ball. And he was really focused on one person that game instead of reading his keys and going through his progressions. He was trying to get it to Jeremiah too much, and
okay,
it just led to a bad day overall. for him.
So
That was
pretty
his
much
worst game.
that was his worst game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, then he rebounded really well though.
Oh, he's done great since then. Yeah. He's
If you think about that. You jump from that to Washington, you probably think, "Oh my gosh, like this."
yeah.
And that environment, sound wise, it's going to be that Washington game. The sound is just way. It's one of the loudest in the country. So
Right.
Illinois Saturday is going to be a special environment for many reasons.
And that was my next question was I wanted to ask you what makes Memorial Stadium special because Ohio State struggles there, man. I went back and I was looking through the games, by the years, and when we go to Champaign, like we don't play well at all. We've lost some games there. I can remember. And what makes that environment so good for you guys?
Well, I will say against a lot of teams, not Ohio State, the experience may not be as loud and fun, but I think
You
you
guys
know,
really care about that stupid wooden turtle that much?
yeah, the line. No, how about no? Okay, I don't want to like rub Ohio State fans anymore because your guys' egos, not you, but you don't have a big ego, Eric. I can tell you that right now. You probably are maybe one of the level headed Ohio State fan, which is nice. But when you think Ohio State, you think of prestige, you think quality. So that something really good is coming to town. So you want to be at your best. You want to be loud. You want to give your team a chance. So I think Illini fans are very in tune with that. And even though they haven't had tons of success, Illini fans are very, very loyal. If you put anything out there like competitive, Illinois fans will show up. So what Brett Bielema has done is pretty awesome. Illinois is more than competitive now. They're getting Big Noon kickoff 2 out of the last 3 weeks. Like you're 5-1 for the last 3 of the last 4 years, Eric. That's pretty good for Illinois, and they've been in the college football playoff rankings like in the last 2 or 3 weeks of the year, 3 of the last 4 years, where like, hey, you win this game here, and this team loses, and you're in the playoff. It's been pretty cool to see. But Illinois fans now are selling out Memorial Stadium. It's about 61,000. I know that's like, okay, well, it's not 80, 90, 100, but it's loud. It's passionate fans. And Memorial Stadium is pretty cool. Like I was upset. I'm sad that you can't come, man.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's just a cool old 105-year-old stadium, man. That's got the pillars on it from World War I, where they had a memorial for the University of Illinois students that died in World War I, and the same brick that was laid 105 years ago is still there. It holds up the grandstand, the balcony on the east side, and so it's cool. It's a good, and some of the best tailgating in the Big Ten. I can tell you this: Ohio State is on it. Is talking about it right now. Like he wants to know like great places. So for Ohio State fans that are coming, that are watching this, great tailgating. I know it sucks 11 a.m. kick here, which is noon Eastern for you guys, but Illinois got a lot of really cool space to tailgate. It's endless. There's a big open field directly across from Memorial Stadium where it's like tons of room. And then, there's room for Ohio State fans and anybody to come. But then there's a couple more lots, to the east and west of it for more tailgating. And they open up the State Farm Center parking lot for the basketball arena for people to go tailgate. It's just a really cool place to tailgate, enjoy before the game, and then get into to see a game. I think most Nebraska fans loved it when they came. But it can get loud, man. It's not Washington loud, but this game I think is going to be a little bit more special, more amped up. As much as I think Washington cared about winning that game, I don't really. It was earlier in the year, obviously, and Washington wasn't ranked. I think it meant a lot because you guys were number one, But this for Illinois and the rest of their schedule as it lines up. This and the Washington game that Illinois has. Illinois goes to Seattle after their bye week. Illinois knows if they can win one of these two, they're going to be heavy favorites the rest of the year to get to 10-2. So there's a lot to play for Illinois here.
Well, Ryan, at the beginning of the year, I had Ohio State going 10-2.
You did.
Those losses were in my opinion, were against Texas and Illinois. My co-host Chris had Ohio State going 11-1, with his one loss being against Illinois. So we both felt that this was a scary game for Ohio State.
I still think it is, Eric.
Well, some of my listeners have been like, do you still feel this way about Illinois? And I'm here to tell you that I might actually feel like, even though I'm more confident in Ohio State than I was at the beginning of the season, just based off of how they've performed thus far, I still feel like this is going to be one of the closer games we've had so far. And
yeah, I mean, I would agree. Even if Illinois doesn't win this game, I think it's going to be very competitive. I think a lot of the metrics I saw like these, these guys that all they do is do metrics. It's all day long. Metrics. Man. It says 31-21. A lot of these guys think it could be a 31-21 type of ball game. And that could be 24-21 and Ohio State gets a late touchdown. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And then Illinois still covered the spread and it was a close game, or it could have went either way. So I think I feel kind of like that. I'm thinking, 24-17, 24-21, somewhere in there. I think it could be, I know the over under is 50.5. I think Ohio State's defense is I don't see Illinois scoring more than 24. If they, 28 would, I feel Illinois can get to 28. I feel like they could win the game, but I think, Ohio State's defense is legit. But Illinois can move the ball. I think Illinois easily should have had 40 plus on USC. They had a couple things. They had the Fagan fumble on the goal line. I don't know if you saw that taken from them. It wasn't a fumble. His shoulder was on the ground. Which really killed a lot of momentum Illinois was going to take into halftime. So yeah, I think it's going to be a close game. I've picked Ohio State to win the game. I just, until Illinois' defense can show me that they're capable of making big stops and getting it figured out. They've had a lot of shuffling in the back end. All they needed to do was get one stop against USC in the fourth quarter, and the game was over, and they couldn't do it, and they had to go down and kick a game-winning field goal because, offensively USC couldn't stop them. But, the fumble at the end of the game, Illinois basically allowed USC a chance to go down and take the lead. Yeah, it just all boils up to Illinois' defense can force pressure on Sayin, create some turnovers, get some momentum. I think get an early lead is also key. That helped them out big time against USC. They fumbled on the first drive, and Illinois went down and scored a touchdown. So they got up early, So yeah, those are some big time keys to this. This should be a fun game for sure.
Yeah, absolutely, man. It's gonna be the kind of game that I really look forward to. Do you have any questions for me? Anything you want to know about Ohio State before we give?
Oh man, thoughts? Yeah. So I guess I should have delved into who he is, but tell me a little more about number 92, man. He looks like a game wrecker.
Oh, talking about old Caden Curry, huh?
Yeah, I like what I've seen. Yeah.
So Caden Curry's from the state of Indiana, recruited out of Indiana 4 years ago. He has been Jack Sawyer's backup
Okay.
For the last 3 years. He came in and has just been blocked. He got in a lot last season, especially on third down when he would be because he can kick in and play tackle on rushman packages, third and longs.
I saw that against Minnesota. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll kick him inside, and he's pretty big, pretty good size. He had his best game of his Buckeye career against Washington. Tied a school record for TFLs in a game. It was definitely his best game. Um, but he's just trying to find some of that consistency, and it's coming along nicely. Unfortunately, this is his last year. He's a senior, so
Yeah, but what makes it fun for him though is all you need is one great year, and the NFL scouts will see that.
oh yeah, he's definitely going to get picked up. He's definitely going to get drafted. I'm not I'm not so sure that he isn't on Sawyer's level, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
He just has been blocked for so long. If you were to say hindsight being 2020, I would have loved to have seen him and Sawyer together for 1 year. I think that would have been a dynamic duo,
Oh yeah.
but it is what it is. But yeah, Kenyatta Jackson Jr. Suffered an injury early in the game last week. He's our other defensive end. So we're going to keep our eye on whether he's going to be able to play or not this weekend. That could be the first kind of loss we've had to an injury.
That was my next question. Is how so defensively, offensively? Is that all you've got? Is just that Jackson injury?
No, yeah, injury wise, yeah, that's all there's been.
Okay.
That's the first one. So knock on wood, we've done pretty good with our injuries.
How big a blow is that, though? Him?
Well, he's kind of underperformed this year, to be honest with you, a little bit. He shows flashes, and he's very athletic. He's very very bendy, long arms, can get around that edge, sets a really good edge because of how long his arms are. His backup has been Bo Atkinson, which is the North Carolina transfer, came in from North Carolina, which his nickname was Thor. So we love that. So Bo's starting to get pretty good playing time as well. And then freshman Zion Grady's getting in a ton and playing really well. And that was kind of a surprise this year. And Zion Grady's is doing that. But the really, again, our defensive tackles, Caden McDonald, uh, Edric Houston, Will Smith Jr. These guys are all playing incredibly well up front, and it's one of the reasons why teams are really struggling to run the football.
Because you guys aren't really having to like send tons of blitzes, right?
No, we'll blitz from time to time, but it has basically been a 4-down rush, and they're getting home. And so that makes life a lot easier for
you got 7 guys can roam around. So is it they play man to man, or is they split up some zone in there occasionally too?
Yeah, they're mixing everything in there, dude. So they've been playing quarters. They've been playing they'll mix up who the roamer is or the bandit or whatever you want to call them, right? So they've been mixing whoever that, and so you don't really know who that guy is, and so it really confusing quarterbacks right now on what they're seeing.
That'll be fun to see Luke Altmaier. He is, like I said, he's one of these guys like in Brett Bielema's press conference that says like he stays in there, has his own. They have their own meetings, with the offensive coordinator. Then they have like a prep before the game, like a day before with Bielema, where they have 2 or 3 hours of just film study, and like Brett Bielema will ask him like what coverage are they going to play, what off of last week's film, and he has to kind of predict what they were going to play. Or this is going to be fun because Luke has really felt like he's taken this mastering of like Jedi-ness of like the stuff before the game. So I think this will be a fun challenge for him, like a big solving puzzle, which it is. It always is, But yeah, that's going to be fun because I was curious. I was like, what defense do they play? Because it looked like a lot of times it was confusing me. So
yeah, it's you don't really know. Now, that first drive against Minnesota, we were in a base zone the entire, like soft zone the entire drive.
It
And
almost
then
was like fool's gold on purpose, right?
it felt like that. We were talking about that tonight on the Collins show. Was that really Matt Patricia just being like, I'm just gonna sit here and do this for the first drive to make you feel good, and then I'm just going to throw you everything at you, and you're gonna be like, I don't know what's going on now. Like, which I'm like, that's kind of weird that you would do that. Like, why would you list like, hey, we might give up 7, we might
It's
give
almost,
up 3, and
it was like, here, you guys think you can do it? Yeah,
it's
because
what it felt like. Yeah.
what if Illinois cashes in 7 that first drive? I don't think he'll do that in Champaign.
Yeah,
Why would
I
you
don't
get them
know.
amped? You don't want the crowd in it. You don't want a belief. That's one thing you don't want is allowing somebody who has less talent but has enough talent that has to be like, we can do this, and just be like, I just wanted to fuck with them. It's interesting. I think that he might have been doing it because the rest of the game,
They
I
were
don't.
they were in partial zone at times, but most of the time it was straight up man, and we're gonna play our linebackers in different ways. And they're playing 3 linebackers a lot this year, much more than they did last year. At times, they're bringing in Peyton Pierce to go with Arvell Reese, who's an absolute monster. Arvell Reese is a absolute dude.
You guys
Uh,
probably have speed at the linebacker position, which
Oh,
is
they
nice.
those guys between Sonny and Arvell, man, those guys they're the best linebacker duo we've had since early Urban, maybe yeah, early Urban, yeah. So yeah, it's wild. But hey, Ryan, tell everybody there might be some Illinois fans who jump on this and catch this for the first time. Tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
Yep, at 200 columns on YouTube, and then the Keeping It Orange and Blue will be the title across that on YouTube. But then you can just look for Keeping It Orange and Blue on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're looking to get onto Google, Google Music and all that other stuff where you can listen to podcasts and stuff. That's the next goal to get on there. But yeah, Keeping It Orange and Blue is the title, and most places you find podcasts, Keeping It Orange and Blue will be there. So yeah, we appreciate it, man, and always fun to be part of the College Huddle with Eric.
That's it, man. It's awesome over there, dude. 86 podcasts from coast to coast covering their teams, man. Just like Ryan does for Illinois. He's the best. And we try to keep you entertained here at the OHIO
That's right.
podcast. So, all right, Ryan. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much, brother. Enjoy
Yeah,
the
awesome.
game.
Talk to you later.
And thank you to Ryan for keeping it orange and blue for joining us here on the OHIO podcast for our preview. If you're an Illini fan, we highly recommend that you guys go over and check his channel out. They do good work over there. We appreciate having him a part of the College Huddle right above Chris's head over there in the right-hand corner. 86 podcasts from coast to coast, including keeping it orange and blue right there in the state of Illinois. All right. As Ryan mentioned in that game, Chris, against Indiana, things just got sideways. They got out of control. The defensive personnel, which isn't great to start with, was depleted even more, and they were playing their third string and walk-ons in the secondary. Um, if Illinois can't keep up with Ohio State's passing attack, if they cannot get pressure on Julian Sain, and Julian Sain is able to pick them apart, I think Illinois is going to do is they're going to sit back in a soft zone, and Julian Sain is just going to pick them apart all game long. They already aren't great at stopping the run. We know that. Um, I think there's a good chance Ohio State offensively we might see more of what looked like against Minnesota than what we saw against Washington offensively. The one thing defensively they can do, turn you over. And so ball security becomes paramount for this Ohio State team. If Illinois is going to be in this football game, it'll be because we cough the football up too much in this football game.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you because like I said, this was the game I had marked on the calendar, Eric, and I think it's lost so much of its luster After Indiana really shellacked them, after USC, you know, nearly took them last week or 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry. Um, and after allowing a pretty anemic Purdue team to put up 27 points, I just feel like there's no way these guys can keep up with our wide receiving core, yet alone our tight ends who can catch. And we've seen Max Clare have an expanded role.
One of Max Clare's best games ever was against Illinois.
Yeah. And then you look at our running backs who are, you know, we did it by committee versus Minnesota. A lot of guys, or three guys got plenty of carries there. I look for that again versus Illinois, unless one of these guys gets a really hot hand. I think you see the same thing again, which means we're going to have a lot of fresh guys in there, and that's the other thing. Illinois is battling some injuries still, and I think our depth is going to be huge. We're going to be able to stay fresh through the fourth quarter. I don't see a way this team hangs as long as Ohio State does not shoot themselves in the foot.
If Ohio State's able to put up 30 some odd points in this football game, let's just say 31 or more, 30 or more points. The way this defense is playing, it's lights out. Yes, I know this is Illinois is hanging their hat on their offense here, and they're kind of like, hey, we want to outscore people right now because of the depth issue and the health issue on their defense. But the way our defense plays, man, like I think Illinois can get to double digits. I just don't see them scoring 30 points on Ohio State's defense.
I'll tell you what, I think if Ohio State gets to 21, this one's over.
Really?
Um, I'm not so confident that Illinois gets. Illinois may be the first team to hit 10, but I don't
Okay.
see them getting much more than that.
Well, you ready to make your prediction then?
I am.
All right, Chris. I got my pen in hand. Go for it.
I'll tell you what, I don't think that, and you know, I said they could hit 10. I'm not calling it. I'm going to go Ohio State 35-9.
3 field goals?
3 field goals.
Yeah, Illinois. That's hard for me to see them do because if they're just kicking field goals, they're trading field goals for touchdowns, then Brett's going to go for a fourth down. He's going to go for it.
But I could, again, you know, when I predicted how this game was going to shake out, I said it's going to be a game early. Early on in the game, he's going to kick them field goals.
So, yeah, okay. I follow you on that logic. The spread on this game,
It's only 14, I believe, isn't it?
14 and a half. You are comfortably taking the over with
Oh
that
yeah,
number.
I'll take that. What's the over under on this one? That's what I'm wondering.
I don't have that in front of me.
I'll tell you, I'm definitely taking Ohio State to cover at 14 and a half. And I'm telling you, get in on it why it is 14 and a half. This one's going to go up. I just sense it.
Let's look at that over under for you. See what they've got here. 50 and a half.
You know what? I might take the under on that.
You should because
I
you're
think I
only
would
at
take the under.
you're only at 44 on your prediction.
Yeah. Yeah, I would take the under on that one. The only way they're getting to 50 and a half is if Ohio State puts up 42.
Which is a possibility.
It is a possibility.
You know, I really like your 35 number. I'm gonna agree with you on that. I'm not gonna agree with you on your 9. I'm gonna go I'm gonna go with I'm debating between 13 and 17.
You think
13,
this team that's given up 2 touchdowns all season is going to give up 2 in this game?
that's why I'm debating between 13 and 17. I'm going to go 13. You're right. I just don't see Illinois scoring 2 touchdowns. But I also don't see them kicking so many field goals either. I feel like they know they're going to have to score 7s on this defense.
I'm gonna say somebody's pretty close last week.
Yeah, you were. You were. But if I go 14, that means they do score 2 touchdowns. Well, defensively, they've been putting their offense in pretty good position. They attack that football, man. You've ball security. They only got 1 interception. It's all fumbles and fumble recoveries. Like they know how to swipe the football away from those ball carriers. So ball security is going to be a major issue, which is one of the reasons why on that touchdown run that Bo Jackson had, which was a 2nd and goal, Ryan Day was ticked off about it because he reached the ball over the goal line.
Yeah.
And he goes, "You never do that on 2nd down." Like he was mad about that because he knows Illinois this week, they're gonna be punching at that football if you do that. So Ryan Day was already preemptively coaching up his team on ball security before the week even got here.
Yeah. And that shows you where Ryan Day's head's at right now.
Yeah.
He is now advanced as a coach. I truly believe that. He has advanced so far as a coach.
And so with that advancement, I'm willing to go 35-10. Let's do it. 35-10. That's real close to what you've got. So, but I think that feels right. 45, so it's also on the under, on the over under. And it's also 25, so it's taking them
Still
points and
covers,
running with it on the spread. So that's where I'm at as well. So, by the way, Sean was at 45-10. I wrote that down the other day. So Sean is like, we got this, man. So 2 of the 3
I hope
of
he's
us.
Right.
Well, if he's right, he's hammering the over.
Hey, I'll gladly lose the $20.
But Sean and I both agree that Illinois got a chance to hit double digits, be the first team. And I think that that's okay to say because they're going to be uber aggressive. They're going to definitely be putting the ball in the air. And to hold that Illinois team to 10 points is pretty good.
But let's think back historically at Luke Altmaier when they get uber aggressive and put the ball in the air. It's not always a good thing.
Not always, but he's in his senior year. And by the way, this is a massive game for Illinois, guys. Yes, they got absolutely skunk raced by Indiana, but that was in Bloomington. And a lot of people will forget that game completely if Illinois is able to upset Ohio State here.
I'll tell you what, if Ohio State boat races these guys, they can kiss the playoffs goodbye.
100% agree with you on that.
Because you look at the back end of that schedule, there's not an opportunity for a quality win after Ohio State.
Who's their toughest opponent after this week?
Washington.
That's not easy. It's at Washington too, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, that's not good. That's not going to be an easy one.
I'm not saying it's easy, but I'm also going to tell you that the people who vote on these things are not going to consider that a quality win.
Yeah. But if let's say Illinois loses by 1 score, are the Illini still at 10-2 with a good loss at home to Ohio State and a bad loss on the road to Indiana? Are they considered possibly a CFP team? Like they're in the conversation, aren't they? They're at least in the conversation.
They would be in the conversation depending on what the rest of the teams do.
If it comes down to a 10-2 Illinois and a 10-2 Indiana, you all know the Hoosiers won that one.
Yes.
So what about a 10-2 Penn State with a win over Indiana and a 10-2 Illinois?
I told you at the beginning of the season, Penn State was going to lose at least 3.
A 10-2 Penn State team means they also
beat Ohio
State.
So at that point, then Penn State's in.
Yeah. They'll look at the UCLA loss as like...
This is Illinois' season. It really
Yeah.
is. This weekend is Illinois' season.
And how does that make you feel as an Ohio State fan going into this game?
I if not last year, I'd be more concerned than I am this year.
Because of the defense?
What's that?
Because of our defense?
Because of our defense. And because of the difference in Ryan Day and how he coaches the game now. And I just, I said at the beginning of the year, and it still holds true. Got a lot of respect for Brett Bielema. I think he is a good coach. I think this is a good team. They're not an elite team. They are not an Ohio State caliber team. Not even close.
Let us know what you think about what we think down in the comment section below. Again, we would love to know your score prediction as well. During the live game watch on Patreon this Saturday at 12 noon Eastern, we're going to start the show about 5 minutes early. Get in and put your prediction in the chat, and if someone hits the score dead on, they will win a OHIO podcast coffee mug with a $10 gift card to Amazon slid in that coffee mug. But you have to be a Patreon member. So you have to be a Patreon member, and you have to be a Patreon member to watch the game with us. Either way, it only costs you $5. You could literally pay $5 and win a $10 coffee mug and a $10 gift card. That's a pretty good deal.
Not bad.
Link is right below the video. Link is right below the video. Go to Patreon, sign up. If you're already a member of Patreon and signed up, all you got to do is show up 5 minutes early, be in the chat, give your score prediction. I will write them down, or Chris will write them down one, and then we will find out. We'll find out if someone's going to win a gift. So, going to be a lot of fun. All right, guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We will be back tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern. The Buckeye ladies have their live show, and we might hang out Friday night on Patreon. We might go hang out again. We had such a good time last Friday night. People have been asking to do it again, so do that. Go over to Patreon. Check out Chris's latest video. Chris, what's the name of your show over on Patreon again?
What Drives Me Wilds.
What drives me wilds with Chris Wilds over on Patreon. He's got a doozy. Over there. So go check that out. And of course, if you all are members on Patreon, guess what you already know? You already know who the next firing in the Big Ten is going to be. And that's not a guess. That has been confirmed. So, go over to Patreon.
Freaking Freeman isn't in the Big Ten.
Go over to Patreon. Check out the chat board, man. Be a member. The message boards are on fire. We got some rumors about happening with recruiting. Vader's been all over that. Mika's going to be all over that here very soon as well. So make sure you guys are going to check that stuff out, guys. All right. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carbon Ohio with all your heart. You all know what to do. OH.
Ohio.
Go Bucks. Beat the Illini.